Hello everyone. So far we covered basic topics in HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Right now it is time to cover more complicated topics. That does not mean that we will cover something like advanced HTML, CSS or JavaScript just yet, but our topics will get a little bit more complicated, and which means they will get a little bit more useful. So we are starting with covering some topics about CSS. And in today's video, we will talk about content, padding, border, and margin. In order for me to tell you what they really are, let me start with showing you an example of them. So let me create a div. Then let me put a text in it. Let me put something like content text, and let me assign an attribute class my div. So save the HTML, refresh the page, and now we see content text. That is as usual. So now let's go to main.css and create a class for our div. We call it my div because that is what we call it here. Actually, you can call it whatever you want, but make sure that the same name you use over here in div attribute, you put it over here in your CSS. So in our case, it is my div. So let us start with the content. So let's type something like content, new content. Let's save it and let's refresh the page. Nothing changes. Let me show you one interesting thing. So if you put my div, then you put after, save it and refresh, you can see new content being appended after our content text. So we are not going to cover after right now. But I can tell you what it basically means is that we just append everything. Just append something after our current content, or in other words, append something after what we selected here using CSS selectors. So what content is, it is basically the main part of our component. So let's inspect the page so that guys, you would see what is going on. Click picker over here, hover over content text. So let me make it full screen so that it would be better to notice. So, and as you can see here is our HTML in the debugger, and here you can see actually in the debugger content, padding, border, and margin been separated in its own blocks. So here in the middle goes content, then after content we have padding, and after padding we have border and margin. So let me show you how you can affect padding, border, and margin in CSS. Actually, you are never going to affect content directly on the element, but you are going to affect it on after and before elements. And what you should know about it, that by specifying the selector, then putting two colons and after or before, you will be adding content to the after or before element. And what it means is that you will just be putting a text in something that is not actually present in HTML when you look like this on it, but what is present when the HTML gets displayed in Chrome or any other browser. So now let me apply padding, margin, and border to our element. So let's put margin 10 pixels, padding 10 pixels, and border let's put 2 pixels, solid black. Save it. Let's refresh the page and see what happens. Actually, I'm pretty sure that we already used the border property in CSS, so you might know these guys. As you can see here is our border appears. And our border right now is 2 pixels, and you can see here in the debugger it says that it is 2 pixels on each side. Okay, so also you can see that our padding is 10 pixels on each side, and it is shown in debugger over here. And you can see that margin is 10 pixels on each side as well. So what is the use of margin and padding? Actually, there are tons of usages, tons of cases when you are going to use them. But what you should understand is that by applying margin, you will move this whole box from left or from top or from right or from bottom. For example, let's move it from the left to something like over here. Let's increase our margin. So let's increase our margin to I don't know, maybe 70 pixels. Save the CSS, go to page, refresh it, and as you can see here, now we margin from top, from left, from bottom, and from right 40 pixels. By applying padding, let's increase the padding now. Let's put padding 70 pixels and margin to 10 pixels. By applying padding, you will indent from the border. As you can see here, we now indented from the border. Okay. So I think I told you everything you should know about margin, padding, and border basics. And let me just, for demonstrating purposes, create here another parent div, or sometimes this is referred to as wrapper div. So let me put it here, and let me tell it class parent div. Let me go to my CSS and style the parent div. So here we are using the same concept. We are just putting the CSS class name, which we mentioned over here. So actually, I believe we can select everything and indent. And if you don't know how I did it, please watch my previous episodes. I talked about how you can install a plugin for auto indentation and then auto indent all your HTML code with just a simple shortcut. And if you don't remember it, but you installed the plugin, the shortcut is Ctrl plus Alt plus I. Okay, so here we have a parent div, and in our parent div we have a div with a class myDiv. Okay, so let me now put a border on parent div so that we would see it a little bit better. So I will specify 1 pixel solid and red. Okay, so now let me put a background on my div. So the background will be yellow. Save it, and let's refresh the page. So as you can see here, from red line to black line, we have 10 pixels, and we got those 10 pixels because of the margin which we have on my div. So here are those 10 pixels. As you can see here, once you hover over a margin in the debugger, you can see it in orange over here on our actual page. Okay, so another thing here to notice is a border. It is just black 2 pixels in width, and also we have padding. If you hover over the padding, you can see that most of the inner part of our div is filled up with padding. Okay, so let me show you a little bit maybe more complicated example. We can specify a background, a margin, and the padding for both left, top, right, and bottom side. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to specify the border for only, I'm going to specify the padding for only top part, the border for only right part, and the margin for only bottom part. Yes, that is a silly example, but you can still learn a lot from it. You can still understand that you can use both, I don't know, there are actually 3 of them, padding, border, and margin for a single side, just for a single side, maybe for left, for top, for right, or for bottom. So let's do it right now. Let's put here, so let's start with padding, and let's put padding top. As you can see here, you will get prompted by the Sublime that you can use padding top. Then let's put, so let's select everything, cut it, and paste it over here. So just that to have a correct order, we're going from the most inner part, which is a content, then we have padding, then we have border, and after border we have margin. And the background color is not one of those 3, or actually 4, including content, so we don't care about it for right now. So put padding as 70 pixels. Let's put border right Actually, let me spell it correctly. Let's put margin bottom. Let me delete the extra semicolon, save this, and let's refresh the page. As you can see here, happens exactly what we would expect. What we got here is at first we got a top padding of 70 and left and right and bottom and left paddings as 0. So as you can see here, the green part over here when I hover over padding takes only the top part, and actually it takes 70 pixels. That is because of this line. After that we have a border on right which has 2 pixels, and on each other side there is no border, or actually there is a border of width 0, which is just the same as there is no border. So, and at the bottom over here we have a margin of 10 pixels, and again that is because we specified margin over here. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave comments what you like, what you don't like about my videos. I will try to change them in order to satisfy you a lot, and I hope you learned something from this video. So thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.